Hey, guess what? Another week has gone by and you all are officially rolling with Rams. Hey, how's everybody doing? First off, I just want to say, everybody that's out there right now, if you're just like me, your anxiety's high, your chest is pumping, breathe. Just breathe. If you're on whether you're a Republican or a Democrat, it really doesn't matter. I just want us all to breathe, relax. Just relax, take a chill pill, calm down. Let's just calm down. Let's relax. We are the United States of America, and our democracy has been at work. It is still at work, and that's what's happening. And while democracy is at work, guess what we have to do? We have to breathe, and we have to let democracy, let the process complete itself. So yes, yesterday was our presidential election, and they are still counting votes. They're still counting votes for the record number turnout that we had in early voting, absentee balloting, mail-in votes. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Whether you're a Republican or a Democrat and you have voted in our presidential election, hey, I applaud you. Come on, I applaud you. I applaud you because you decided not to sit on the sideline and you made sure that you were a part of the process. The democratic process. So our democracy is at work. Our democracy is at work. And we are still waiting the outcome. So all I can say is that I agree with what is happening. We need to make sure that every vote is counted. As long as that is a valid ballot that they're counting, every vote should be counted. In the last 24 hours, we have seen some things that are disappointing, disturbing. Definitely that opens my eyes. As a veteran who served the United States of America for 23 years, in ICE, wherever you at, my man, Dan Eisenhower, who I went to school with at Oak Ridge Military Academy, a.k.a. ICE. Cool guy. He's a veteran as well. I saw a post earlier that ICE had, and I stole it from it because I felt the same way, because it was eye-opening. And the post just said, it's sad to see that it looks like close to 50% of our electorate, 50% of the people who took place in this, who voted, feel like me as a veteran serving 23 years, supporting and defending the Constitution of the United States, views me as a sucker and a loser. Yeah. Pretty much half of the people that voted sees me as a sucker and a loser as a veteran. And it's really hard for me to think about that. Because I've got brothers and sisters who are serving right now. And I can tell you right now, none of them are suckers and losers. Let's not forget that our armed forces that we have, the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, the Marines, the Coast Guard, Space Force is an all volunteer force. I see you battle. Retired. I see my battle. Karen Dickerson. That's right. You rolling with Ramsey today. So painful. So painful is what she said. Come on, chime in. Don't let me have this conversation by myself today. Hey, Messiah, I see you, brother. You're rolling with Ramsey. And you know what? Messiah said, you're appreciated. God bless you. God bless your service. Thank you. I really appreciate that, Messiah. Young man going to UNCG, doing big things. Participated in the process. Got his head on straight. Active member of society. I'm telling you all, it's sad. It's sad to see that because we may disagree politically, that we can almost run a bus off the road and it be applauded by the president. Those people are not patriots, because that's what he called them. Those people in those trucks were not patriots. I'm a patriot. Karen Dickerson is a patriot. Plenty of them, my other battle buddies out there who served and are currently serving, are patriots. See, what makes us patriots is if one of those trucks had flipped over and people were trapped on the inside and it was on fire, even if we disagreed with them, we would stop. We would help them. We would pull them from the burning flames, because that's what we do. That's called selfless service. I can tell you, I've said it before and I'll say it again. While I was serving, I served under some commander-in-chiefs that I like. I served under some that I totally disagreed with. Their policies, didn't care for them, didn't vote for them. But they were still the commander-in-chief. That's right. Karen said we would endanger ourselves to ensure they're safe. I will never forget, after being in Afghanistan, after 9/11, being at Fort Drum, New York, watching Air Force One fly overhead, and being in a small audience when at the time President George W. Bush came to visit us, and having some sense of pride and reverence that, wow, that's the President of the United States. And let me say it again. I did not agree with all his policies, but there was still a feeling of pride that the president was right there. He was talking to us. He was right in front of us. I know for a fact that soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, there are plenty. And I'm not going to say all, but there's a large segment of our military who don't feel that way about our current commander-in-chief. They don't feel that way. They can't say anything. They're on active duty. So let me speak for them. I'm telling you right now, and I said this last week, there's a large segment of the military that is watching this election closely. And yes, it looks like, Vice President Biden is on the way to winning this election legitimately. Votes are still being counted. I'm just saying where it looks like it's heading. The momentum is in its direction. Yes, it's going to be contested. They're going to call for recounts. The president's going to make as much noise as he can. But in the end, guess what? The law is still going to be on the side of us casting our ballots. We know that. And when I say there's a large segment of people, I'm talking about servicemen that come January of next year at an inauguration, if we have a new president, if Vice President Biden becomes the president, they will immediately drop their retirement paperwork. Immediately. All because they do not want President Donald J. Trump's name on their retirement paperwork. If you didn't know, what happens is when we retire, the president, not only do you get a letter from him, you get a certificate signed by the president, and his name actually goes on your official paperwork when you retire. The president, whoever's the president serving at that time. And there are soldiers, there are people serving that just said, I just can't retire. I don't want to be linked, my career linked to this president. Man, people who are ready, who have done more than their fair share, are still serving because they don't want this man's name on their paperwork. They feel trapped, embarrassed, ashamed. These are things that they cannot say. Let's not forget that Russia took bounties out on American soldiers, and it was proven that some soldiers lost their lives because of those bounties, and he said nothing. The man said nothing. He didn't do anything. He didn't do no sanctions. He didn't do nothing. But he's been tougher on Russia than any other president. Wake up, America. Because see, what happens is, there's an old cliche. They say, hey, you it's hard to get the horse back in the barn once it's out. I served 23 years. My big brother served almost 33 years. 30 plus years. God, it's like my big brother, my mentor, 30 plus years, Robert Austin. Command Sergeant Major, retired on the executive level. If you don't know what that means, look it up. That means he was the Sergeant Major for like divisions. Not just battalions, companies, task force, brigades, divisions. Whole post. 30 plus years. Call him a sucker. Call him a loser. See if you don't get a 2-piece snack. Catch them hands. I dare you to step in any VA hospital and call somebody a sucker or a loser. Yeah. I'm hurt. But I still got to have hope. I still have faith that our democracy will prevail and we will get back to governing the way that we should. Meaning Republicans and Democrats working together to take care of the American people, the United States. Not red states, not blue states, Yes, the United States. And yes, I understand that's what Vice President Biden says, but it's very valid. There's no such thing as, oh, you live in California, that's a Democratic state. Or you live in North Carolina, that's a Republican state. You live in Texas, that's a Republican state. Or you live in, you live in Minnesota, that's a Democratic state. What? Do you all not see what's been happening? Words matter. The president's rhetoric was so bad that the governor of Michigan had people trying to kidnap her. And then when the FBI did their job, he had the nerve to say, oh, my people saved the day. She should be thanking me. What? Michigan, by the way to come through. Detroit, Motor City, way to come through. Way to come through. I don't know, guys. I don't know. What does it all mean? What does it all mean? We are a melting pot. Let's go back to Schoolhouse Rock. We are a nation of immigrants. We're a nation of immigrants. A nation of former slaves. A nation of the disenfranchised. A nation of refugees who've sought asylum because where they live, there's just so much drama and turmoil and violence. We are a melting pot. We are a pot of soup in the wintertime that my mama used to make when she used to just go in the refrigerator and just pull out a whole bunch of everything, put it in the pot, put some tomato paste with it. Next thing you know, man, some of the best eating. We're just a hodgepodge. We are. Our differences are what is supposed to bring us together. That's what makes us great. We're not the same. We're not. We are not the same. Tell y'all a quick story about a guy I went to school with. And it happened, I met him on one of the most ironic situations that you could ever meet someone in. It was like, gosh, I tell people all the time I should write a book or I should make a movie about some of the things that I've experienced. But if you didn't know, I went to a military school from the 7th through the 12th grade. Oak Ridge Military Academy. It's north of Greensboro, North Carolina. You know what I'm saying? Hey, go check it out for your kids. Great institution, great education. Awesome. I'm an alumnus of the school. Man, great friends for life. Matter of fact, who I was talking about earlier, Ice, my man Ice, Dan Eisenhower, we went to Oak Ridge together. So at some point in time, just like way back in the day, where students could drive school buses, we didn't have school buses because we lived in school, but certain students have some responsibility. Now, I was one of those students. I could drive one of the school vans and this, that, and the other. And I happened to be on guard duty for that weekend. And guard duty for us was you were there, you made sure people signed in, they signed out. It was one of those things. But, hey, Ramsey, need you to go to the airport. You're going to pick this kid up from the airport His name is Craig Milner. Now, what's ironic about this is this was the same day that Nelson Mandela was being freed from prison. The same day. So at my school, I will admit, it was only a handful of African-American students, black students, and we were there for the weekends. And those of us who were there, we were crowded around this little TV. We were watching, and I had to go pick this kid up from the airport. His name is Craig Milner. I go pick up Craig. They described what he was going to look like. I said, hey, blonde hair, blue eyes. He's going to talk funny. I said, all right, I have a little sign. Boom, had on my uniform and stuff. Boom, there's Craig. How you doing? Get your bags. Da-da-da-da. Boom, throw him in the van, and we on our way back to the school. Now, from the school to the airport, it was really close. It wasn't that far. It wasn't that far at all. So on the way back, we're driving back. What's a natural thing? What do you think the first question I asked Craig, because he did have a very unique accent? What do you think the first question I asked him? Hey, man, where you from? After I introduced myself. Hey, I'm Cadet Ramsey. Nice meeting you, blah, blah, blah. I'm Craig Milner. Da-da-da-da. He talked funny. This is whatever. We in the van, get his stuff in. Hey, where are you from? Now, I couldn't be no more at this time. I think I may have been 17. Craig says, oh, I'm from South Africa. I can't even get the accent right. But I can't even get it right. That's about as close as I can. He says, oh, I'm from South Africa. And I looked at him like, really? Now, you got to remember, what was I doing prior to me coming to the airport? I'm watching and waiting for Nelson Mandela to be freed. I pick up a white South African on that exact day. Now, here's what I'm going to tell you about Craig. Craig was just like the rest of us. He was a typical teenager. We were teenagers. He was. Some days, we got on my nerves, whatever. If I interacted with him, some days he was cool. We was teenagers. But overall, Craig was an okay guy. And I got to learn more about Craig, his South Africa versus the apartheid South Africa. And just to get his perspective on things was a education in itself. Because now I'm human. So guess what? When he immediately told me he was from South Africa, I probably caught a slight attitude. I'm not going to lie. On that particular day, just knowing what was going down. And I know how I felt later. Like I said, Craig was a cool dude. He was okay. Craig ain't had nothing to do with that. But I didn't judge him based off of where he was from, my assumptions. They all got eroded away. I judged him based off my interaction with him. I let him tell me who he was just by his actions. Actions will always speak louder than words. And Craig was an okay guy. Now, there were some people at school, I'm sure, that had a closer relationship with him and friendship with him than I did. But he was still an okay guy. Like, trust me, because I went to school with some people that weren't okay guys. It was high school. We were kids. You're not going to like everybody. But I told you guys that story to get back to where we are right now as a nation. We can't ride around in trucks because we're emboldened and just because the president says crazy stuff and try to run people off the road. We can't intimidate people with caravans of traffic and scaring them in parking lots and rolling up on them. Man, I don't have the couple's name. And I told you guys about this, who invited me to lunch when I was in Alabama with the motor coach getting the warranty work done. Great couple. They were Trump supporters. They are Trump supporters. Great couple. We had an awesome lunch. We broke bread together. They got to know me. I got to know them. We were laughing and joking. And everything was all good. Because that's what you're supposed to be able to do in our democracy. We don't alienate each other so bad, or the other side so bad, that it becomes violent, that it becomes abusive. That's not what we're about. That's not our country. I was watching MSNBC and they had a British correspondent, or a British, what's the word am I looking for? Commentator, or a guest on, that was just giving their perspective of our elections and things that was taking place right now. And it was disappointing. It was very disappointing in what she said. She said, excuse me, I feel as we witness what's happening in America and some of the policies and things that have changed, that we can no longer count on the United States. We're going to have to look elsewhere. So we're going to have to look elsewhere. Now, there are a lot of times when I've made this statement, I've felt like that the United States of America should not be the world police. Now, guess what? It's probably at some point in time, every soldier has felt that way. And you start feeling that way when you stay gone. So when you're deployed and come back, deployed someplace else, come back again, and you're deploying again and coming back again, and you're deploying again, you start to feel that way. But honestly, that's what makes us a beautiful nation. We're supposed to be that nation that you can call upon and say, hey, we're in trouble and we need your help. That's what we do. That's what we do. Do you know that Special Forces, one of their missions, other than just being a straight badass, Green Berets, Rangers, but the Special Forces, let me just talk about the U.S. Army Special Forces. I don't want to confuse it. So I'm talking about Green Berets. One of their missions is training. And it's not just all the time like training armies and stuff like that. They train areas on logistical tasks, infrastructure, things like that, to be self-sustaining. And it's one of the missions that get lost, that you don't hear about too often all the time. Just training. Education. Educating people so that their lives can be better. Let me say it like that. Oath of enlistment. Key parts to it. I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. What about the last part? And domestic. See, it's funny to me because domestic terrorism things that fall under that category a lot of time get swept under the rug. Timothy McVeigh, one of the two men who were responsible for the Oklahoma City bombing, definitely falls in the category of a domestic terrorist. The Unabomber, Ted Kaczynski, domestic terrorist. All I'm going to say is this. We all have a right to bear arms. That's a part of our Constitution. I want everybody to look within their hearts right about now. And make sure you don't find yourself unintentionally being a part of an organization or a movement that is going to fall into that category. Don't let one radical person persuade you into believing that this is not the best country in the world and that we're not better than what we have shown. Open up your hearts. We have to get back to being more empathetic. We have to get back to seeking understanding rather than to be understood on both sides. There's a commercial that's on TV right now. Shows an elephant on one end of the bench, shows the donkey on the other end of the bench. And I think the elephant goes, "Oh man, is that a Ella donkey or something along those lines?" And it's a combination between an elephant and a donkey. And it walks up and it goes, "Hey, is there any room in the middle?" And they both look at him and say, "No." It's the bottom of the hour. It's about 6:34, and you are rolling with Ramsey today. It's the day after our presidential elections, and they are still counting votes. And that's a beautiful thing. More people voted in this election than any other election in history, which is awesome. It's awesome. But we learned some things as the votes are coming out, the tallying up the votes. We learned some things that people are willing to tolerate and be okay with. I'm learning that every Republican senator and congressman your silence is deafening because you're not saying anything. You haven't said anything for the past 4 years. You've sat back and been complicit in the most troubling administration in the history of the United States. It's been riddled with scandal. making up rules as they go along, rules that have clearly been broken, and you've said nothing. You let the President of the United States go on TV last night and declare himself the winner, and you said nothing. The people of South Carolina voted Lindsey Graham back into office, even though he basically is if you look up hypocrite in the dictionary, they should have a big picture of him. Mr. Use my words against me. Yeah. Lindsey Graham. Use my words against me. John McCain's not happy. He's rolling over in his grave. So, what do? Where does that leave us? Our democracy at work, what's it really telling us? It's telling us the same thing I have been saying time and time again. Rolling with Ramsey is a podcast all about bringing people together to have healthy conversations, whether I agree with you or not. We have stopped talking to each other as a nation, and we are talking at each other instead of to each other, and that's why we have a problem. It's okay for us to disagree. It doesn't mean we have to hate each other. That's just, and guess what? Let me say this. I cannot put every Trump supporter in the category of those people that were in the caravans on the highway trying to run the bus off the road. I can't do that. And I won't do that. You have a right to support who you want to support as president. That's what makes our democracy great. I guess I'm so disappointed because the actions of the Trump supporters have been on the headlines of doing some, let me just call it the way I see it, some thuggish things. I pray for every Trump supporter who attended a rally this past month with Donald Trump. I pray for your health. I pray that you do not spread or catch the coronavirus. Because guess what? The corona, aka COVID-19, doesn't care if you're a Republican or a Democrat. It don't matter. But you were out there at these events with no mask on, these super spreader events. The man put your health at risk. And to hear some of y'all tell it, it's okay if I catch it. You're not going to feel that way when you feel like you got a 600-pound elephant sitting on your chest. And they get hooking you up to that ventilator and giving you Respirdir, I think it's called. Something like a Respidol or Respirdir. But you only get that when you're like really bad. I'm praying for each and every one of you. I am. I don't wish that on anybody. I don't wish that anyone catches the virus. But you didn't do yourself any favors either. President Trump caught the virus and was going around telling people, man, look, I survived the virus. I'm good. Man, that dude has he has the best health care on the planet. He's the president of the United States. He got to have treatment that no one else can get. Your treatment is not going to be like his treatment. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. So here we are. A nation who gets to experience what I experienced for 23 years and what every veteran knows everything about. You get to hurry up and wait. Hey! Veterans know about that. Active duty service members know about that. Hurry up and wait. We get to hurry up and wait. Why are we waiting? Because they're still counting. They're still counting. Still counting. And when the counting's done, we're going to go through some other rigmarole and some recounts and some other stuff too. But in the end, the American people are going to know who our president is. We're going to know. Because that's what democracy is all about. If you didn't know, for a large part of my service, I flew Black Hawk helicopters. Many years of my service, that's what I did. And I remember being in Iraq when they were holding their elections and flying the general around because he wanted to see the polling places. Now, what was funny about this is he wanted me to fly real slow. And I was flying over a part of Baghdad that just wasn't so nice and wasn't so friendly. A place called Sadr City. So if you know anything about Sadr City, they'll do you. At that particular time, they would get you. Shoot you with a rocket, shoot you with from the ground, and, shoulder fired rockets, RPGs, rocket propelled grenades. It just wasn't nice. So I remember that day very distinctively because we flew over to Sadr City. And he was like, hey, can we slow down? And I remember saying, you want me to do what? And we did. We slowed down and we went in this circle, these multiple circles over Sadr City. And I can remember the whole time I was flying, Lord, please don't let nobody shoot me today. Please let us get back safe. But it was a historical event. We had this historian on board with us. And it was a historical event because the people of Baghdad and the people of Iraq were voting. They were taking part in democracy. So I can only imagine how some of them felt and swelled up with pride because they were able to do so. And so as our democracy is ongoing, it's in action right now, and we did it yesterday, and we voted, and we early voted and mailed in ballots and absentee ballots, but we were all taking part in democracy to how should I say it? But to try to erode our democracy by claiming that it's not legit or somebody cheated or something is false, that's just not right. And I'm happy to see secretaries of states of all these states, where they're still counting, standing up for themselves, knowing that they handled themselves professionally, and that their particular states, where they have been counting or where they're still counting, where it's being done by the book, by the letter of the law. So at the end of the day, that's what we got to believe in. We got to believe in the law, and that they're going to count the votes, and we're going to find out who the president's going to be. And that's all that we can ask for. And when we know who that is, whether it be our current incumbent president, Donald J. Trump, or whether it be former Vice President Joe Biden, that whether it's Donald Trump and he's declared the winner, I pray that he gets back to work, like really working. Or whether it be Vice President Biden, I pray that when he's inaugurated, they get to work. And they get back to governing the American people, so that we, the people who they really work for, can feel like they are doing their jobs. And I pray that Republicans and Democrats can meet on some middle ground and get some work done. That's my prayer. That's my prayer. I love each and every one of you. I do. I want to thank everybody who has been very supportive of Rolling with Ramsey. Man, I cannot grow without your help. So I'm asking. I want to see network action like never before. So I'm asking each and every one of my friends, listeners, everybody who's watching, please do me a favor. If you have liked the Rolling with Ramsey Facebook page, I'm asking that you go to the Rolling with Ramsey YouTube channel and hit the subscribe button. That's what I'm asking you to do. Show me some action. If you have liked the Rolling with Ramsey Facebook page, I'm asking you to go on Instagram and follow the Rolling with Ramsey Instagram page. It's not costing you anything. It doesn't cost any money. I'm hoping that I can see an influx of people to go to the YouTube page and hit the subscribe button. Go to the Instagram page and hit the follow button. Please, I'm asking. I'm asking for your vote. No, I'm asking for your support. That's what I'm asking for. I'm asking for your support. I'm telling you right now that this is the last political show that I'm going to be having for a while. We're going to get back to fun stuff. We're going to get back to educational stuff. Things that can help everybody, no matter whether you're black, white, blue, brown, or purple. It doesn't matter. That's what Rolling with Ramsey is about. Helping folks, bringing folks together, educating people, also just having those healthy conversations. And so, you know what? We're going to talk about some things. We might make you I might scratch you back a little bit. I might pinch you a couple of times. But guess what? At the end, guess what? We are all going to have to be on the same page. We're going to have to all love each other. So we're going to get back to some fun stuff, some educational stuff, some informative things. This is the day after our election, and I'm going to have to let this go. I'm going to have to breathe like everybody else. And guess what? We're the United States of America today, and we're going to be the United States of America tomorrow. And we'll be the United States of America the day after that. It's going to be okay. We just all have to breathe. But I appreciate all the love and support of Rolling with Ramsey. I do. We got some really cool things that are going to be coming up. I'm not going to blow the surprise or anything. Next week is going to be our 25th episode. That's a milestone. 25. Woo! Looking forward to it. I really am. But we're going to get back to some cool things, like I said, informing some people of some things so that they can make sure that they've got all their I's dotted, all their T's crossed. And I'm going to keep highlighting and spotlighting some really cool people that are doing some phenomenal things. Because that's what I do. So once again, thank you for all your support. Liking the Facebook page, share it with your friends and family, following on Instagram, and subscribing to the YouTube channel. And remember, you can listen to Rolling with Ramsey on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio. And guess what? Last but not least, Save Radio.
Life could be so fly.
You can catch me and find me in all those places.
The Most High, dripping sauce that G supply. No matter what the case, we gon' be alright.
There's nothing you can do about it.
Life could be
Another
so
week has gone by, and once again, you have been rolling with Ramsey.
Supply. No matter what the case, we gon' be
I'll see you guys next week.
Get down on the good foot. Contemplating revelations of the good book. Leave examples to the nations how it could look. If you leave it up to love, we'll have